Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. A while ago I made a video detailing some of the drama that Shea Coulee was involved in, where her drag daughters had disowned her and also made some accusations against her. Shea didn't really respond to the drama at the time, but Shea has now properly addressed the situation, which has caused even more drama, and Shea even made some very surprising revelations. So let's get into it now. Also, I'm so close to reaching 140,000 subscribers, so please could you do me a favour and hit subscribe to help me get closer to that goal? Thank you! Okay, I'm going to briefly summarise the previous drama just for anyone who doesn't know or doesn't remember, because it is relevant to the recent drama. Shea is the mother of the House of Coulee, and she had 3 drag daughters, which were Kenzie, Bambi, and Chloe. Back in September 2025, the 3 of them suddenly announced that they were dropping the Coulee part of their name and they were no longer going to be Shea's drag daughters. Each of them posted some vague social media posts which alluded that there may be a bad reason as to why they had left Shea's drag house. For example, Kenzie posted saying, "Be wary of these drag family structures, don't let anyone impose their narcissistic parental abuse onto you, you're not a character in their show. Let's just say having 1 million plus followers will truly have a B word in psychosis, have you surrounded by clout chasing yes men who agree with everything you say." Kenzie also said in a different post that she was cleansing herself of, quote, narcissists and energy leeches, which was clearly in reference to Shea, although she didn't say Shea's name. Chloe, on the other hand, posted on social media saying, "Let's see, you sat in my biological mother's face and lied to her before she passed away, making a promise you did not keep. You taught me zero as a drag, quote, parent, and you constantly put others above us because they kissed your ass more, / fed your ego or had some kind of fame. But you're a, quote, good person who, quote, tried all they could. Comical." And Bambi only posted saying that you won't be getting any tea from her. Shea didn't respond directly to this at the time, apart from posting a few vague Instagram stories of inspirational quotes about not giving things your energy. However, Shea has recently fully addressed the situation and even said that she was the one who dropped them as her drag daughters, not the other way round. A few hours ago, Shea appeared as a guest on Monet Exchange's podcast, where they talked about several different things, including the drag daughter drama. At one point in the podcast, they started out by talking about going to therapy and also the word narcissist, which is the word that Kenzie had used in her post to describe Shea. And this is what Shea had to say about that part.
And people like to throw around the word narcissist so much.
Girl.
But I'm just all like, I mean, I don't know if you are in a place to clinically diagnose somebody with something like that.
This is my hot take. Some people are doing too much therapy.
Yeah. Oh my God. And some people don't even do the therapy.
Right. They just
but they see
it.
like memes with therapeutic language on Instagram, and then they try and turn around and then weaponize it on other people.
Monet then said she wanted to ask Shea about the drag daughter drama in general, but first, Monet said that she's been friends with Shea for several years, and she's only ever known Shea to be a very kind and generous person who gets on with her other sisters.
I have had to learn and be at peace with the fact that you can have relationships with people, you can spend time with them, create memories, and have a very specific experience with them. And they can be existing in a completely different reality than the one that you're in.
Yeah.
Then Shea got into her side of what happened, which is where she revealed that she was the one who dropped her drag daughters and not the other way around, which is how they had presented it.
One thing I do want to clear up, and make perfectly clear, they did not drop the name. Okay. The name dropped them.
Okay. Yeah. That's what they say in the streets. Like, we dropped the name and we chopped her.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? okay. But for me, it really just got to a point where I felt like the dynamics were just not, they weren't positive. They weren't affirming. You know, it didn't feel safe. It didn't feel lovely. And I really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, all I wanted to do was help the girls and be somebody that could be a mentor for them, because I didn't have a drag mother.
Shea then made quite a surprising comment about the reason why she thinks her drag daughters were unhappy with her.
Because I had a conversation with one of our drag sisters, because she was friends with them prior to getting on the show.
Got it.
And she was like, you know, they had painted a very specific picture of you to me.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, really? And she's like, but then I got to know you and you are not like what they said. And she was like, I really do feel that they expected that because they had your name, that it would be a fast track for them to get on Drag Race. And when it didn't happen for them, they began to resent me. And I really do think that that is true.
Shea ended by wishing all of them well, but she also addressed some of the comments they had made in their social media posts, such as her being a, quote, narcissist, a B word in psychosis, and an energy leech.
You know, to be called a narcissist and a bitch in psychosis, you know. And
you're an energy leech. You're sucking on the energy out of them. Yeah.
You know, and because I do go to therapy, I have set them free, you know, like to go on and be able to forge their own paths. And I think too, for them, hopefully it will be a much easier experience and a walk for them not to feel like they're living under anybody else's shadow.
Shortly after this podcast episode came out, Bambi Banks, who is one of Shea's former drag daughters, posted a thread of posts on Twitter where she claimed that Shea was lying in the podcast, so I'll go through each of the posts. Bambi said, quote, Shea is lying. We never resented her about getting on Drag Race. We are adults and understand the producers are the ones who cast the show, and we learned pretty quickly having a name does nothing for us. The, quote, quiet part out loud is that her partner, Dan Polyak, has always been the issue between us and Shea, simply because he's extremely insecure and causes drama within our family dynamic. He was the only reason I ever had an issue with Shea, because she likes to throw herself in front of him instead of holding him accountable for what he does. It's really sad to see someone claim to support us when we know the truth. Also, we never said we dropped the name, we just did upon her request. It was immediate because we hadn't talked to her for a year at that point and had no connection to the name. I personally have never had an issue with Shea Coulee that didn't involve Dan and his feelings. I've always looked up to that queen, but she is just not a good mentor. I've never once spent time with just me and Shea one-on-one. She rarely supported any of our shows when she was in town, unless we booked her, so I don't know how she, quote, wanted nothing but the best for us. The reason I didn't even want to speak on this is because I find the fallout to be over something petty, and it showed she never thought of us as friends, but more as trinkets. She treats Drag Race girls better because she respects them more because she's also a fan of the show, like many of you who treat Drag Race girls the exact same way. It's not surprising her, quote, sisters would say the same sister she talks bleep about behind her back. Shea Coulee has never helped me with an audition tape past reading my Snatch Game questions once, so I don't know what advice she's referring to, maybe for one of the other girls. The only I got was a threat of being sued, lol. And from that last part, it sounds like Bambi is potentially implying that Shea threatened to take legal action against her, but she didn't give any further details, so this is just speculation. And then, in the last post that Bambi has done so far, she seemingly referred to the part of the podcast where Shea was talking about going to therapy, and Bambi said, like, going to therapy doesn't matter if you're lying to your therapist. As you can probably imagine, after Bambi posted this series of posts, other people then started commenting on it and asking questions. One Twitter user asked what Shea's boyfriend did, because in Bambi's posts, she said that Shea's boyfriend, Dan, was the problem. Bambi replied to this person and said he would make everything about him and would tell her how we as sisters had it out for him. He was really insecure about all of us being drag queens and felt he needed to assert his dominance as her partner by manipulating any situation. Once we asked Shea if we could do a photo shoot with just the four of us, because we are all four black drag queens and it would be a stronger image, and she and Dan got so, quote, offended and hurt that we didn't want Dan in the shoot and made it a 6-month ordeal. Mind you, this is one of many incidents that have been blown out of proportion, but every last one of them is very silly when you realise he's 5 to 6 years our senior and shouldn't be threatened by his partner's drag kids. Another Twitter user then replied to Bambi's thread and said, "Girl, it genuinely sounds like y'all just stopped being able to mesh as people. There's obviously resentments on both sides, but she said she wishes y'all the best, so maybe just move on. I don't know, people grow apart." But Bambi replied back to this person saying, "Babe, I did. I never said anything about her till she got on a podcast lying. I don't care about well wishes from someone who said she would sue me. I agree that we didn't mesh and I wish that's what was said, but sadly she decided to say a lot that's just not true." As of right now, I haven't seen that Shea's other 2 former drag daughters, Kenzie and Chloe, have said anything about the situation. However, I did see that both of them had retweeted several of Bambi's tweets onto their own Twitter accounts, so presumably they were supporting what Bambi was saying, although this is just speculation. And that seems to be the end of it for the time being, but I just thought this was quite a major update because according to Shea, she is the one who dropped her daughters from her drag house, not the other way around. And apparently they were salty at Shea because they thought that being part of her house would help them get on Drag Race. But it sounds like Bambi denied that and accused Shea of lying, but it also sounds like Shea may have threatened to sue Bambi. And it also sounds like Bambi is implying that her issue with Shea was actually down to her boyfriend. However, this is all just hearsay for the time being, and it's a case of she said versus she said, and it's not clear what is true and what isn't, so we'll have to wait and see if any further updates ever come out about this. But as I always say, please do not use this as an excuse to send hate to anyone involved, just enjoy this type of content passively and don't get involved. So there you go, there was an update on the Shea Coulee drag daughter drama, including some recent revelations. Let me know in the comments what you think of this situation, and what part of this situation surprises you the most. If you'd like to get exclusive content, personalised videos, early access, as well as many other amazing benefits, please consider joining my Patreon. It's a cheap and easy way to support my channel, and it does make a huge difference. And if you're interested, I'll leave a link to my Patreon in the description. I'd also like to take an opportunity to say thank you so much to all of my incredible Patreon members. I love this community so much and I'm beyond grateful for all of your support. You really do make a massive difference to my channel, so thank you all so much. Please make sure you give this video a like and a comment because it really does make a huge difference to increase the engagement and promote this video in the algorithm. And please make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's a free way to support the channel and it does make a big difference. So please help me get to my goal of 150k subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you'll join me again in the future for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. Thank you so much. Bye.